He's someone who's ashamed to perform in public, but not this bad. This is a movie clip where he has no inhibitions to perform at all. That gives you an idea of what kind of man he is. What kind of feat he curates is a different story altogether. Welcome to Feed Science, where we take the most remarkable characters and show what their feed would look like because of a lasting impression they have made on the masses that have lasted the time they did. So we took a personality test on Mr. Bean to get a result. Using this, we give you a glimpse of how Mr. Bean's feed look like. What it isn't a bunch of hide-and-seek montages of how Mr. Bean gets away like this one. Or this one. Or this. And especially this. He had a very novel take to test his nerve given the parameters that we've tested him on, and we want to see how he comes out of the edge. So, let's get going. On an evening when pouring coffee, Mr. Bean is tasked as a punishment. Pass it to a deaf elder. There's a line of people he needs to pass it where he takes that odd steaming coffee before they start to confess their sins. To translate for them. This line is old people who call him chair and are quite sensitive to the loudness he feels when he squeaks by the windows that bless and remind him of the wind. The warmth of his coffee, himself, the cold wind. There's your picture for you. He toe dances in rhythm to the names of all the elders while reading them. Here's Bean. And the elders take a sip and calls it, yes, it's Bean indeed. And then everyone assembles on a group of chairs in a circle to relieve their sins. Mr. Bean is the sincere, depending on how you heard that one. One of them looks at them with broken teeth with a smile that says, her youth is still alive despite her hardship with her family with sweets as breaks to cut and digest. So he begins by saying, the sin Greta makes is in the oven, that her family misses their glance every time. They're chewing on their words with the television, clean their mouths with food, and tug the dishes and her away night-night. The elders beside her says, then there. Yes, there. Bean. As they all rally across the table as Greta takes her cup and pours the coffee, puts the sweet she's never broken away from, as she passes through each elder, while the wind blesses her with her challenge. And as she passes through, and finally ends up with Mr. Bean in the end, she goes, here, Bean. To which Bean and the rest go, being indeed. Here's our first clue of Mr. Bean's feed. Chaotic empathy. Notice how he toe danced through the high-pressure situation, translated confessions while balancing coffee. This isn't just slapstick humor. This is a stress test for his adaptability. If Mr. Bean curated this feed, I'd likely include Unhinged ASMR, elderly TikTok, guilty convictions, but with a whimsical twist. Here's the catch though. The scene's abstract poetry. The wind blesses her with her challenge, risks alternate aims. Would expect the Bennett's classic silent comedy. Our lab verdict, 8 out of 10 for creativity. But 2 points for clarity deduced. For a restaurant, its first impression is always to be clean. And for someone like Mr. Bean, it's as easy as flossing his teeth with a napkin before he takes in an order for the guest, as he places that napkin on the guests, making it comfy for the order. As those guests have all arrived, they ring their glasses, and thus the performance of a clock at the center, which doesn't move much from its place, given the moment involved in placing the dish, to pouring the soup, to spelling the sauce, and pouring only enough to look at the customer, to flossing through their meal, and observing that every morsel doesn't miss or leave a mark. Inside a restaurant, but outside of it, the inside is a symphony, the outside a song. Mr. Bean is one individual who feels at a loss for words, working as a waiter as he waits his turn. It's his last take, and he really needs something to work up the courage to show for it. As he is tapped upon to perform, he startles and is on the spot, playing to the sound of the plate and knife with a spoon that says, "To stay unmoving at the chariot move me is the challenge." The other one replies, "To capture the note and need not type it is the goal." Bean stutters and gets the gesture to continue. "To floss your teeth with ease so I can be comfy with a napkin received is the gift I hope to never unwrap." As he puts the napkin inside his collar and the rest of the crowd sings the rest. There, 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 there. And everyone sings along for the day with no mask left in sight, as people leave the restaurant with a symphony on the outside. Quite a usual occurrence indeed. Mr. Bean thrives on structured chaos, and this scene is peak feed science. Flossing with napkins, conducting a symphony of clinking plates. This isn't just waiting tables, it's a performance art. If his feed had a watch next algorithm, I'd recommend cringeworthy service TikToks, waiters gone rogue, minimalist ASMR, napkin folding tutorials, silent disco playlists, smooth and knife remixes. But the abstract metaphor, the inside of a symphony and the outside is a song, feels like it could be misunderstood. But Mr. Bean communicates it through physical comedy, not poetry. My verdict, 7 out of 10 for novelty. For tonal inconsistency, it's 3 minus. Mr. Bean can be called a child sometimes. What happens when he turns up as a nanny to take care of one? Well, he has to play nice with the ladies at home, the kids stay. So he bathes, brushes, and wipes the child clean for him, to leave his worries aside and watch the show with the kid. This is why the ladies are getting ready to play their game while the kid is in capable hands. So they think. They all pop in unison asking, "All right?" Both Bean and Chai respond, "Yes." And now their game begins as they start playing Jenga. Bean and the child watch as the show starts and the door closes. While the music plays, as the guy in the suit on TV is trying to escape from the building, saving his life. As he is fighting for an opening, the song sings. As every brick from the wall cracks my way, ladies abroad with their child sleeping, they enter a flame. To escape without noise is like joining hands. That doesn't sound like a clap, but them raging on with all the cards reopened that once lay a trap. As I move from one door to the next, remembering, oh, never see those bricks blow back, with every nod to a view at study, and to forget the trap that crack. And then there's that climax of the scene. The ladies are searching for the suit, after having turned each brick from the building while the suit does its job, from hanging, dropping, leaving a message saying, "You got a mess here," with the very, very loving message saying, "Time your mess well, or it won't age well." While it clicks, all the girls reading that. Bean and Child pop open and ask with a smile, "All right?" The women come exhausted after the game, and they brush wipe the child, as the clean smirk that remains to this day between him and Bean, unturned and untouched. This is Feed Science Gold. Mr. Bean, babysitting, it's like watching a toddler outsmarting adults. His feed would 100% include Tom and Jerry, but the Teddy. How to bait a kid using a bomb, to see the dad half version of it. Escape room ASMR, where the Jenga blocks are fluttering. The smirk in the end, the chef's kiss. It's Mr. Bean's way of saying, "I'm chaotic, but I've got this." Our verdict, 10 on 10 stability. No notes, just perfection. Mr. Bean sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. But for the little people who remember him, he's a bomb waiting to be blasted. But today, he's at a loss for words, given a bomb-like figure he knew is dead. And there he is, preparing the speech for someone he hasn't wished to remember. Wow, I'm Mr. B, and we're all gathered here today to reminisce an old flame, whose memory we shall spark one last time before it's been buried to a crisp. So, I shall make it small and brief. You see, I was quite clumsy, to give her the time of day. While most men wanted to bear a child, I was the child, and that's what gripped her from those other men. Tending to me, she definitely had her hands full. Of milk, soap, and paper, juggling for things like nutrition, self-consciousness. Of course, I would use workout as a defense mechanism, and we would do all of it in that order, to tire her out. And in the time she tried to read me a page of health, and I would give her a twist in the bones, giving me a heartache, agreeing it must be felt from the outer to the inner, rather inner to the outer. Well, we agreed to disagree on how that went. But in all the time I knew her, she kept me small and brief, so I can stand here today and still spark one last time, no matter how buried I feel today. And that is something I think the world of. Thank you. Who knew Mr. Bean could really cheer you up? This scene is a masterclass in subtext. His speech isn't just about loss. It's how he weaponizes clumsiness to mask vulnerability. His feat would secretly include tearjerker silent films, one that Charlie Chaplin was part of, awkward funeral TikToks, cringe meets catharsis, and therapy ASMR. The line "she kept me small and brief" is very poetic. It clashes with Mr. Bean's non-verbal persona. Lab verdict, 9 out of 10 empathy. Deduce one poet for over-poeticizing a man who'd probably communicate this with a fart noise. But that's what we're here for. Someone who really gives you a novel look on him. But here's the real question. Does your feed reflect your inner being? Drop a comment below. Are you a coffee confession algorithm or a funeral speech curator? And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and interrogate what your watch history is like, so you self-curate more than you get curated for. This has been Feed Science. Stay curious, stay chaotic. Bye.